I see great irony in this situation where you've been told almost nothing, and yet the situation is so telling about everything going on in our politics. I'm talking about Epstein, of course. Despite so little coming out about Epstein's death, his consorts, his universe, the reaction to it is a reflection of where we are in our politics, if not in our society. And by the way, I still see a difference with a distinction between those two. This country, the majority of us, still agree on most things. We just have to get past magnified minorities that dominate our politics. It's because of them that we are in the Epstein epileptic fits, distracted by a situation that doesn't really matter to the overwhelming majority of us in our lives in this country. Yes, I think the administration has screwed this up and owes MAGA folk explanations of previous promises. And they should fight the judges for what is redacted and release what they have. I believe that. And I don't think it's going away. But it ain't the national debt. It ain't the economy. It ain't immigration. It's not an issue that affects us all for generations. It's a story that cuts right down partisan lines for absolutely no good reason. It just cuts down partisan lines because that's all we're about. The simple fact that we are in a binary battle to the bottom where everything gets processed as whether or not it plays to the advantage of one side over the other, even Epstein. Don't take my word for it. Look at the polling. Not big in terms of outcomes, but in terms of preferences in a moment, you can get something out of polling. 40% of Republicans support how Trump's administration handled Epstein. 36% disapprove. How? How? When all of this negativity has been generated from within MAGA, how do you get to 40-something%, almost 50%? And there's been obvious mishandling or non-handling of the situation up to this point. How can you be satisfied with the handling when there's been no handling? Because they stick with their side. Same explanation for polling on the Democratic side. Why would 83% of Democrats disapprove? Only 2% approve of the handling of Epstein. Since when? This issue has been nowhere on the left. Not for the membership, not for its leadership, and yet such extreme disapproval? Why? Because they are automatically, reflexively against Trump's interests. And being satisfied with the handling of Epstein or anything good for Trump is anathema to the cause. So we see one reality here, which is a reminder that you must reject this game of politics. And the majority has to reject what it watches and what it absorbs on social media and what it asks of its leaders. We have to push to get back to focusing on the interests of the many and not just the fanaticism of the few. You know who agrees with me, at least right now? The President of the United States. The president is finally doing something on the Epstein case that I wish he would do on issues that actually matter a hell of a lot more, like economic policy, tariffs, immigration policy. He's telling the extremists who exist on harshness and far-out positions basically to F off. Now, this is new for Trump, telling the mega MAGA to take a hike. So he's kind of wading in. He's tiptoeing in. He's still trying to blame the Democrats for the Epstein situation, which ain't going to work. But this is the first and certainly strongest rebuke we've heard from Trump of his own. The Democrats' new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past, all caps, supporters have bought into this bullshizzle. Hook, line, and sinker. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. I don't want their support anymore. Remember, Andrew Schultz, Charlie Kirk, Joe Rogan, all the pod bros. Past. BS. Weak. That's pretty ballsy for Trump to do that. Now, again, no way Democrats are to blame for Epstein, okay? You can blame them for jumping on the issue and trying to play it to advantage, but again, that's about hating the game, not the players, for me at least. This is going on because Trump courted extremists and harnessed their grievance and their disaffection, and that motivated the inception of MAGA. No, what he's doing right now, I would argue, is the right thing on one level. I do believe he owes them disclosure, and transparency is something he campaigned on. We didn't get it with the UFOs. We haven't gotten it yet with JFK. Got Anna Paulina Luna tonight to talk about that, representative out of Florida. There's been an advance there. We'll have it. But now you're not getting it with Epstein. So I get them being pissed off. But this is risky for Trump because, as I've argued here before, MAGA is bigger than him. And this issue, as we saw with the vaccines, another deep-seated conspiracy, they care more about satisfaction of their cause than they do about who gets the glory. Now, with the caveat that Trump likely cannot bully the mega MAGA into forgetting about Epstein, he can recognize that he can do this. He can forget about the loony loomers, the Kellys, the pod bros, the fickle fanatics. He doesn't have to cater to them. I know the media likes to pick up on social media, and it's this kind of incestuous cycle, but it's not really tapping him into the majority, not really. But he can do that. Reject the extreme within your ranks on the real issues, immigration and the economy. If he adopts this, I don't need people who are irrational to support me mantra. On those issues, we could actually make some progress. Look at immigration. Same poll that I was reading to you earlier found that 39% of voters approve of how ICE is enforcing immigration laws. 57% disapprove. Why? Because this extremist deport them all mentality is not capturing the majority interest in this country. Yes, we want law enforcement. Yes, the southern border was porous and a joke, and it devastated Democrats in the last set of elections. But not everyone who crosses illegally should be judged the same. That's not me saying it. That's most of us, as you just saw in the poll. So there is a middle ground on deportations, a rationality. Polls show most Americans broadly favor deportations as a function of law enforcement. I get it. I've never said anything else. But that number of approval drops precipitously when? For migrants who've been here for years, married to U.S. citizens, have a job, have no criminal record. Then we can make some actual progress because we can get away from the absolutism of this extremism, of what ICE is being made to do, and just focus on the bad hombres, not the head count. Quality over quantity. Instead of demonizing people who come here to work and build our country, we could form a really quick consensus on making ourselves safer, but also stronger, with whom we allow to stay, rather than just focusing on who we can force and how many we can force to leave. The same is true in the economy. If Trump can get away from this romanticism of the extreme and going all in on one direction, the biggest tariffs, the most on everybody, everywhere, all at once, like that lousy movie, he could take something like that, what we learned about the economy this week, and work with both sides to get us to consensus. Inflation is showing signs of flaring up, and we know why. There's price pressure. And there are other early signs of pressure, like these about the tariffs, like the PPI. Now, I know the producer price index, I know that people on the right are telling you it's proof of a boom. They're wrong. Why? Now, first, let's deal with where we are on this. On tariffs, 39%, just like with immigration, say Trump's tariff strategies on the tariffs are working. 53% say they're not. You see where the majority is in this country? You see where those who want reasonable is? Where we are. Again, it's a party line litmus test. 84% of Republicans say the tariffs are working. 90% say they're not. You see, you got to get away from these extreme reckonings of us and them. There's clearly a middle ground in how to approach rebalancing trade and manufacturing relationships that we have with the world. Right? They dizzy you with data when it comes to the economy. That's why Harry Truman famously said, give me an economist with one hand, because they're always giving you another version, but on the other hand, but on the other hand, but on the other hand. So this is an issue, the economy, that you can twist like no other. But I'm telling you what this PPI is. It's not sign of a boom. The producer price index, okay, showing that prices are down a little bit. You know what it's a sign of? Producers with deep pockets, the big companies, not small businesses, which are suffering with tariffs right now, they front-loaded inventory when they first heard about this. So we are seeing them pricing the last batch of goods that were priced at the old cost structure. And because This administration catered to the extremists in terms of finding waste, fraud, and abuse in that fiasco that was Doge. We're not even sure if these PPI estimates and the inflationary estimates are right. You know why? They cut so much meat out of the Bureau of Labor Statistics that are really important to capturing an accurate understanding of our economy, that now we're working off estimates a lot more than just actual data. It used to be that 10% of the data analysis was based off estimates instead of crunching the raw data. Now it's over a third because of cutbacks, which makes our understanding of the economy even less certain. Bad time for that. And then there is the reason that Trump should take this lesson of Epstein. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.